Welcome back to TYTSports. Francis Maxwell here with Alan Russell, providing some great coverage here on the beautiful game, football, soccer, which way you want to spin it. And we've got a story here that I had to bring you. I mean, I don't know how much more I can just try and hype on Mesut Ozil to try and get him to try and play up to the ability that I've seen him play. I mean, I don't know if you've seen some of the coverage about me and the True Geordie. We like to rip into Mesut Ozil a little bit because he's one of those players that's got enormous ability. But it just seems that he's just kind of took our advice and just thrown it away, because he's now out for 10 to 12 weeks. So he's out with 10 to 12 weeks. It's suggested in The Guardian here that he's unlikely to play again until after 2015 with a knee injury. The full extent has not been clear, but for me, this could be a blessing for Arsenal. And it's insane to say when you're saying a player like Mesut Ozil getting injured could be a blessing. But when you watch the game, I know we were talking about before against Chelsea, I thought that he could have as well just been serving hot dogs or something like that in the side, or in the UK, 7 sausage rolls. We don't eat hot dogs at games. But I thought that he was very poor. I don't like to hype on him as much. I know the commentators think that I'm pretty harsh on Mesut Ozil, but it's only because the guy has got all the ability in the world, and I just think that he hides in these big games. What do you think? My
thoughts on Mesut Ozil. I'm actually going to defend him a little bit. And back to your point against Chelsea at the weekend, yeah, he was non-existent. Yeah. And sometimes that's the downside of Mesut Ozil, but a player like that, from a striker's point of view, yeah, you need on the field. You only have to look at Mesut Ozil's passing percentages in the final third last season. 900 passes, over 900 passes in the final third, with an 84% completion. He was named the top passer in the final third in the whole of the Premier League last year. Yeah. Now, for a striker, that guy is going to get you an extra 10, 15 goals a season. And as a team and as a coach, that guy is going to get players opportunities all the time. And I
absolutely agree with that point in terms of Mesut Ozil. And I do hype on this as well. As much as I criticise him, it's down to Arsene Wenger, because he plays him in the left a lot. But in the same aspect, I think that his work rate is questionable when he's not got the ball. Yes. And when they play him out way left, the way Arsenal's formation works, as we talked about this before, they like to push their fullbacks up. And if you push your fullbacks up, you're susceptible to a counter-attack. And at the start of the season, when they played Mesut Ozil wide left, they were punished a lot on his side because of his tracking and back ability. And the same thing as I talk about players like Rubin and them, they shouldn't be relied on to defend as much. But with Ozil playing in the left, I do believe that you're taking away all his core ability. His passing ability in the final third, as you said, is essential. When they did play him in the middle against Aston Villa, they tore them apart. And Ozil was playing it through to Welbeck. And I hyped on his praise, and I was like, fantastic, he does well. But then, when I don't feel that as a player to that ability, he doesn't grasp the game by the scruff of the neck. Against Chelsea, he was given a lot of the ball, I think, in the final third, and they looked to him to try and provide something, creativity, but I feel that he gets overwhelmed by other players. And what I liked about him when he played at Real Madrid is that he could find gaps in small areas. And when you play at Stamford Bridge, it's such a small area, and I thought that was going to be their go-to. I was because I was wanting Chelsea not to have a harder run at it. I was wanting Arsenal to do better. When I watched them, I thought Mesut Ozil gave the ball away a lot. There was one moment when he tried to control it on the sideline and he miscontrolled it, and you could see it in his face. He was just like, I'm done, I'm giving up. So I do agree with his passing percentage, but I think in his mind, he's not for Arsenal at this moment in time in terms of taking everything by the scruff of the neck and being a leader in that role.
Yeah, and that side of things I agree with. Yeah. In terms of him being one of the top earners at the Emirates, he has to every week step up and, as you say, grab the game by the scruff of the neck. Yeah. When he first went to Arsenal, we went through a hard time. Yeah. His transition from Real Madrid, where he's playing with top quality players, to then go to an Arsenal team who
playing with Bentner.
who are, don't get me wrong, are a top team, but when you compare them to Real Madrid, their off the ball movement, their ability to win games isn't the same. Yeah. And then you've got the fact that in some games they play them in a wide area where he was susceptible to a fast winger. I mean, if you're a really fast wide guy and you see you're playing against Mesut Ozil, you're going to be rubbing your hands thinking, okay, this guy doesn't want to do the hard work, he doesn't want to do the nasty part of football. But when he's in the central midfield, he's a driving force. Yeah. When you see him, he picks the ball up in good pockets, and he's instantly thinking about getting forward. and he's good from the central area, and he's excellent when he gets in the final third. Albeit he had 900 passes in the final third last year, but his assist rate wasn't amazing, and his goal tally wasn't amazing. So for a player on the money that he's on, for the transfer fee that he went for, you need to be expecting goals, assists, and in games against Chelsea, for him not to be on the periphery of things, he's the one that you need to step up and lead the team.
And I think with this injury, maybe a little bit harsh to say that it was a blessing, but definitely it was going to make room for someone like Oxlade-Chamberlain, who I think has been kind of benched a lot from Wenger for I don't know what reason, forever, but not to play through the central. But you can bring in Oxlade-Chamberlain if he insists on playing someone wide. Non-Arsene Wenger will probably put Oxlade-Chamberlain and put him in centre mid and try and get him to drive through. But I think Oxlade-Chamberlain can come in with that speed to try and make them more aggressive and try and maybe push Wilshere up, who I think is very creative when he gets the ball in the final third, but he plays him a lot more as a hard-working box-to-box midfielder, which is, I don't know if he's got the fitness for it. He's injury-prone as well, Jack Wilshere, so it could bring up some options that could work in their favour. You never know, it might work against them. But thanks again for coming in. It was great to bring this analysis to you. Make sure to comment in the section below what you think on this issue. Follow us on Twitter at TYTSports and at Francis_Maxwell. Check out the description below all Alan's information, dominatescoccertraining.com, in which you can find out what it takes to be a top level striker, all the movement, everything, video analysis, which is a huge point which Alan brings to it, which I don't think is touched upon in the United States as much, looking back at video analysis to try and help your game. And on Instagram at dominatescoccertraining and on Twitter at dominatesoccer. So thanks again for tuning in. Make sure to subscribe to TYT Sports.